Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. The first story about a very difficult and sneaky customer, but karma is a bee. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Not today, craphead. I'm a service advisor in a franchise vehicle dealership. Being a service advisor is normally an okay job, but every now and then we have difficult customers. I have no problem with these customers as I expect it with the job, as we usually see people when something goes wrong with their vehicle and they aren't happy. So this story starts off with a construction worker dropping his van off to get a routine service and VHC, vehicle health check. Now he was impatient and a little condescending, but it was early in the day and I just ignored it and booked his vehicle in. Around 2 p.m., one of the technicians was carrying out the work on the vehicle and came in to inform me that he needed 2 new tires on the front of the vehicle as the existing ones went below the minimum tread depth allowed by law. I'm not allowed to carry out any additional work on a vehicle without confirming with the customer first, so that's exactly what I did. Customer will be called Craphead SH. Me. Hi SH, I'm calling you in relation to your vehicle you dropped off for service today? SH. Oh yeah, is it done? Me. Not quite. It needs 2 new front tires as the existing ones are almost bald. The set will cost $. SH. That's grand. Sure, throw them on. Bye. Click. Now I had clearly stated the price and he told me to go ahead with the work, so that's exactly what I did. Our service department closes at 5:30 p.m. and usually we have all the vehicles sent back out by 5 p.m. This customer casually walks in the door at 5:45 p.m. I was finishing up a few job cards, so I was still in the dealership. I handed him the invoice for the service and tires, and he absolutely lost his crap at me. Hold on now, what's this charge for tires? Sir, that's the price of the tires we discussed on the phone earlier. I never agreed to this. I'm not effing paying this. Are they fitted already? Well, sir, the tires are fitted, and I had your approval to do the work, so that's the price for the invoice. I'll pay for the service, but not the tires. Now give me my keys. I've got jobs to do and can't wait here all day. I knew straight away he was trying to get free tires on his van as he knew the technicians were gone and thought no one could work on the vehicle. Hold on a few moments, sir. I'll go fetch your key from valet. What I actually did was bring his van back into the garage and put the 2 old tires back on the van. I worked as a technician before I was a service advisor, so I was able to do it relatively quick. I pulled his van around to the door and went back to him at the desk. I calmly got a form that states the customer takes full responsibility for the vehicle and acknowledges that we advised against driving the vehicle for safety reasons. He was confused and a bit shocked when I asked him to sign the form. Why do I need to sign this? Well, sir, I put the old tires back on the vehicle, and this form states that you are aware and take responsibility for not having a road-safe vehicle. Oh, I'll take the charge off your invoice for the tires. Crap-eating smile commencing. Hold on a sec now, I need those tires. Well, sir, we don't give out tires for free, and we are currently closing, so you'll have to call tomorrow and book your vehicle for another date. Waiting time for service was about 12 days. He reluctantly paid the bill and signed the form and left in an awful humor. The whole time, I had the smuggest look plastered across my face. That a-hole thought he had a master plan to get a free set of tires, but little did he realize he would be facing a service advisor who had a long day of difficult customers and wasn't going to put up with this crap. All I was thinking during this was, not today, craphead. And our next story. Threatened to beat me up in front of a customer? Okay. So this happened about 7 years ago. I worked for a big box hardware store. Safety was always a high priority in these stores. Getting down a pallet? Well, you must block off your aisle with gates and the adjacent aisle. You'll also need a spotter while you're on the forklift. Pretty standard stuff. One day I go to the lumber area and see a manager who a lot of us really despised getting a pallet of cement down for a customer. Normally that wasn't an issue, but in this case, he wasn't using gates in any aisle and was using the customer as a spotter. He even had the poor guy carry the damn flags. As hilarious as that was, I knew this was my opportunity to make sure he knew I saw him. As petty as I am, at least I gave the manager a chance. I walked up to him and said, what are you doing? He responds with, getting a effing pallet down since no one is answering over here." He was the manager of the contractor desk and not the lumber area. I took his profanity and the way he snapped at me as a reason to go to management. He was really buddy-buddy with upper management, but I told them anyway. I even wrote out a statement that he swore at me in front of a customer. After the whole ordeal, a few hours later, I was helping out a customer in my own aisle, and he comes stomping up to me. "You're into effing management? I was helping a customer." I responded with, "Supervisor, I'm helping a customer. This can wait until later." He then decides to counter with, "Be careful going to your car later." I immediately get defensive and tell him he's threatening me, and he just walks away. So I go back to management, and long story short, nothing happens because of it. I heard they spoke to him about the incident, but these were two fireable offenses. As I said earlier, no one liked this guy because he was a real piece of crap. He constantly would pick on people lower than him, and eventually something happened that finally made me snap. I was buddies with one of the lot guys, and one day I stumbled upon the supervisor chewing the poor kid out. He was complaining that the carts weren't coming in the front door fast enough, and he ended it with, "Are you effing stupid or something?" I had enough, so I formed a plan. We had these things called VOCs, or Voice of the Customer. Most stores have them, and it's when you shop somewhere and they give you a little code at the bottom of your receipt to fill out your opinions of the store. We would always post the good and bad ones, surprisingly, in the break room. I used this to my advantage. For the next few months, I had some buddies come in, supporting the business, and give me their receipts at the end. I even bought stuff on my days off just to get a receipt that I could fill out my feedback. I would then go home and use friends' computers and take the 15 or 20 minutes to fill out a proper review. Only I filled out the review as that supervisor helped me. I gave the nastiest reviews I could that were also believable. It was nice because everything was anonymous and I could only leave my name if I wanted to. One of my reviews said that the store was perfect except for that one employee. In another review, I said that I found it inappropriate to yell at lot attendants in front of the customers and that I won't be shopping there anymore. I even made some up, so it wasn't too obvious that it was me. At the end of the day, I wrote so many negative reviews, they had to black his name out whenever I mentioned it. A few months later, he was asked to go to another store. Very quickly after that, he was fired from the company altogether. Seems like management couldn't protect him from such negative customer feedback that they dumped him somewhere else. Too bad he couldn't shake his crappy attitude, or else he would have kept his job. And our next story. I cut my lawn in random directions because it makes my neighbor crazy. Neighbor is a retired 70-something former preacher or pastor or whatever. He's also a judgmental jerk who, despite not living in a neighborhood with an HOA, makes weekly rounds through the neighborhood looking for any minor code violations. Things like flowers that are overhanging onto the sidewalk by an inch or two, etc. He can report to the city to get the owners fined. He mows his lawn twice per day during the summer and has a bed of green that would make Hank Hill cream himself. I take pride in my yard, but it's 70% native plants and wildflowers with a small patch of grass in the front. I don't water the grass because pouring water on the ground seems stupid to me, but it, along with a healthy mix of other stuff, comes in pretty full when there aren't any bare spots anyway. I mow every 5 days, less if we're in a dry spell and it grows slower. Anyway, when I get out there, I cut all the grass, but with a focus toward leaving a path that is as baffling as possible. Sometimes I'll attempt a checkerboard, then veer off into spirals. Other times I'll approach with an even more abstract eye. The grass doesn't seem to mind, and I enjoy the challenge of thinking of new ways to traverse the lawn. Today, I saw my neighbor standing out front with his F-up grandson that had got sent to live with him for some reason. He was complaining to him about something, throwing his hands in the air, clearly very exasperated. Then he gestured towards my lawn. Then he made a little spiral gesture while contorting his face in disgust. I don't know exactly what he said, but I imagine he was lecturing him about how if he didn't get his life together, he'd end up like me, the neighbor with the weird lawn. Small victories, you know? And our last story. Take away our trampoline? Here's every single safety violation I've found. So we live in a communal block of flats by the council. We're lucky to be surrounded by a fair chunk of grass and enclosed off from any roads. At the semi-beginning of lockdown, we bought a secondhand trampoline off of Facebook as our kid has some health issues that I won't go into, and we were worried about his progress. So he has it for about a month before we get slapped with a notice from the council saying we have 2 weeks to remove it for safety violations. So I ring up the council lady and say about his condition and how this is great for his mental health, etc. She doesn't care in the slightest. Keeps on giving the robot response of, we can't have it as it's a safety hazard, etc., etc. We didn't know when we got it that we weren't allowed it, but we hid it in such a way between big bushes and trees that you wouldn't know it was there unless you went looking for it. So this lady says it was reported by a neighbor, and that's why they know about it. There was no way of getting around it. We had to get rid of it. So I sent her a very long list of safety hazards that I'd found from other people's garden furniture to loose bricks and paths, loose handrails, no fire safety, trees falling down in storms, and owners with aggressive dogs, etc. Must have been 50-odd hazards. She had to reply to every single one. Also, I managed to sell the trampoline for more than I paid for it. Downside, they stole one of the bends. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.